So Diddy, the biggest headline out of his case is he's getting a new judge. A new federal judge has been assigned to his case, sex trafficking and conspiracy and racketeering against him. And what's interesting about it is, according to the reports, that will allow him a third bite at the apple of trying to get bail, which has been denied by the first two federal judges overseeing his case. And man, he's fighting hard to get bail, insisting that he's no flight risk and that he's not a threat to the witnesses. Like, the other judges seem convinced he might actually try to intimidate a witness, which really led them to say, you're not going anywhere. I think everybody's watching this because if he gets out, who knows what he'll do. Mark, should he get bail?
No. In fact, the prosecutors are going to simply say, you're judge shopping. What changed since the last time, right? A judge made a ruling. What change in circumstances occurred since the judge found that there was no possible way that he would somehow return to court if bail was ordered? So I think it's a real easy argument for prosecutors. Nothing has changed except the judge.
I know that that's often the case, Mark, but I think this is the appeal that's being filed is an abuse of discretion. So what you're saying is that
because just to make that clear, he's appealing the denial of bail by the earlier judges and will appeal to this third judge to give him bail. Go ahead, Arthur.
And so it's not that typically when Mark and I are in state court and you're going from one judge to another, you have to show that something has changed, a witness disappeared or he didn't get indicted or something like that, and you want the bail to be lowered. But here you're just saying, listen, this judge did not weigh the factors appropriately. I respectfully disagree with my brother, Mark. We're talking about $50 million, and that's a lot of money for anyone. But besides that, so let's just say for him, it's not a lot of money. He's wearing an ankle bracelet with GPS. He volunteered to pay for his own security, who would report directly to the United States Marshals and to the U.S. Attorney's Office if he left his house for any reason except an authorized trip to the doctors or to his lawyers. So he's basically saying, let's just make my house my prison. And they were willing to do anything, Megyn, in terms of giving up his phone, giving up access to technology, just like let him sleep in his own bed in his own room. He is still innocent until proven guilty.
Why should he get? They all want to stay in their own house. Why should he get it?
Because we're all innocent until proven guilty.
Well, lots of people get that same presumption, but they don't get bail.
Arthur's argument.
Since March, he's known they were coming after him. Since March, he had the financial resources to say, hey, I'm going to Google what places are not extraditable. I'm going to go hang out with Roman Polanski in France, and I'm going to live the rest of my life there.
But they're not just worried, Mark, about him fleeing. They're worried about witness intimidation.
Tampering. Of course. So Arthur makes a compelling argument. It's the same one I make in federal court repeatedly. In this particular case, you have a history of alleged witness tampering. If he's at home, no one's recording the conversations like they would be if he's in a jail. So it's something that can continue to take place. And secondly, I do not believe that any judge abuses their discretion in this particular case if they make a finding that no bail is to be ordered. I think that it's not an abuse of discretion.
He's got, a history of violence that we can see on tape with one of the witnesses, we believe, in this case, his ex-girlfriend. He's accused of throwing a Molotov cocktail in the car of some rapper he thought was flirting with his girlfriend or more. This guy is not afraid of hurting people he thinks are betraying him. And so I think these judges have very good reason to think he might intimidate somebody. Here's what his lawyers are saying, though, Arthur. They're saying he will agree to live under highly restricted conditions with no phones, no access to the internet, and video monitoring if necessary. The previous judge said he could still operate through employees, quote, through even coded messages if necessary. And in the appeal, the lawyers say there's no evidence that he used coded messages. But you can see these judges don't trust this guy not to do something.
Yeah, but the bottom line is they're making it so difficult for him to do something, number one. And you know who his cellmate is right now, right? It's all over
It's
the materials
SBF.
you sent. And what happened to him? He was allowed out, and then he called one of the witnesses. I don't even think it was an intimidation. He just called him, and the judge took away his bail, and he's been in the MDC since. So it's not like Sean Combs doesn't realize what will happen if he is let out and then picks up the phone and tries to intimidate a witness. He'll wind up right where he is.
Okay, with all due respect, this guy, Sean Combs, is now, his name is being mentioned in connection with not just physical harm to others, but possible murder. That was not the case for Sam Bankman-Fried, the nerdy, altruistic, philanthropic, whatever, who stole a bunch of money. Sean Combs is alleged to be very dangerous. And
Megyn,
not only a serial rapist,
he's not serial.
Yes, not yet charged, but you've got a civil attorney who's going to bring, he says he's got 120 plaintiffs who are going to allege that they were sexually assaulted or raped by Sean Combs. He denies it. But you also have Tupac Shakur's family hiring heavy-hitting legal teams to now take a very serious look at whether he was involved in Tupac's death. And the guy who's accused of being the shooter is saying that that's a possibility. I don't exactly know what he said, but he said something like he offered to pay him $1 million to do it. These are all allegations Sean Combs denies. But my point is these judges have no reason to say, yeah, he'll be fine. Go ahead, Mark.
Okay. So, Megyn, let me give you a little pushback on that. I'm okay in deciding and declaring that with what they've got, with what he's accused of, and the potential risk of flight, danger to the community, and the other things, there's no abuse of discretion holding him no bond. But you start bringing in all this other stuff. They're mere allegations. At the end of the week, they may say he was OJ's partner in the slaughter of his ex-wife. Everybody piles on. We all know, having done this for close to 20 years, of all the money grabs, right? And I'm not saying that it's not a scenario where people now feel more comfortable coming and telling their truth, but it's also a scenario where they know this guy's circling down the toilet, he's still got money, and people want to cash in. So
fair enough.
I don't know about this linking him to murders. That shouldn't be considered right now. What should be considered is what the court.
The Tupac thing is interesting. I grant you this one attorney who's got 120 plaintiffs, but by the way, they include a 9-year-old boy, which is very disturbing. We don't know whether it's true, and he's a very rich man. And yes, it is true that probably some portion of those people see an opportunity to, like you say, engage in a money grab. I doubt all of them are in that boat. I just have a difficult time believing that, given what we know from, the tapes and so on he was into. But on the Tupac thing, it's interesting, Arthur. They say, this is reporting now, that the family of Tupac has hired powerhouse lawyer Alex Spiro. This is according to Rolling Stone. Spiro, to investigate any potential links between Sean Combs and the murder of Tupac Shakur. The news follows reports that the late Los Angeles rapper's family have hired a team of investigators to ascertain if the Bad Boy Entertainment founder, meaning Combs, had any involvement in Tupac's death. During the height of the East Coast, West Coast hip-hop feud, a 25-year-old Shakur was gunned down in a drive-by shooting in Las Vegas, September 96. His murder has gone unsolved, but a break in the cold case came in September of 23 when Compton, the Crips gang member Dwayne Keith Davis, was arrested and charged with Shakur's murder. Davis, who heads to trial this March, has made claims that Combs offered him $1 million for a hit on Shakur. This is actually quite interesting. And I don't know how you prove a murder, this many years out, and take this guy who's been, charged with the murder, Arthur, take his word for it.
Yeah, well, you can't, and at least in the state of New York, co-conspirators' statements cannot be the only basis for charging someone with a crime.
If you're tired of those same old coffee offerings from those mega corporations pushing their woke agendas, listen up. It's time to take a stand and support a brand that truly embodies American values, Blackout Coffee. They stand with hardworking Americans who believe in family, faith, and freedom. They roast some of the most incredible coffee you will ever taste using only premium grade beans, roasted and shipped to you within 48 hours. And for the cold brew fans, Blackout Coffee is excited to announce the launch of their new 2 ready-to-drink cold brew coffee latte options. Don't settle for less. Make the switch to Blackout Coffee. Head over to blackoutcoffee.com/MK or use the code MK for 20% off your first order. That's blackoutcoffee.com/MK. The code is MK. Join the movement. Taste the difference. Remember, with every sip, you are supporting a brand that stands for America. Be awake, not woke. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.